All right, everybody, let's do some hands-on work and let's check what directory I am in right now. You guys are going to help me over here. Do not do this. You're going to help me over here. She's going to secure the second offer too. Okay, inshallah, definitely. PWD is my command to check where I am. I want to check how long my system has been up and running. Uptime. Oh, so the server has been only up and running for 3 hours and 15 minutes. You could tell the server went down because it was up for the same time the class was running. And I got 0 people logged in right now. And the load average is going up. Why? Strange. More people are joining now. Maybe that's what it is. Okay. So if I go to the pulse over here, I can see because the uptime will not show you your login because you're logging in through different means. This will show me how many users are logged in right now. I got 19 users on the system, and that's all they're using over here. Okay, so that's my thing over there. Very good. You're on the system. Great. Now, so I want to go to the etc file system. How would I go about that? etc file system. I want to go to the etc file system. This is the file system, and I am right now in /home/ my username. How would I go to this directory from this directory? What's the command? Well, somebody said that you could do cd/etc. By doing this, which path am I using? Am I using the absolute path or am I using the relative path? Everybody has to participate. This is absolute path because I am saying, hey, cd command, use the / and then go to the etc directory. Under root, there is an etc directory. Take me there. This is called the absolute path. The other path is this. I'm in PWD says I'm in /home/Asad. And now I want to go to right over here /etc. See, this is different. This is completely different. I'm over here. And I'm trying to go to over here. If you pay attention over here, first I have to go one step below this, get into this directory. Then I would go to this directory. This is called the relative path. So let's go one step above. One step above, meaning I am over here, ASADA, and I want to go from here. I want to go to this directory /home. And then I want to go to this directory. So in order for me to get out of here and go to this directory, I need to go one step back. How do I go one step back? I type cd. cd command is used to change directory, and then space and dot. Dot means take me one step above. However you want to look at it, okay? Look at this /home/Asad. I'm trying to get over here. Is this a one step above, one step below? I don't know what it is. So cd dot. Now I am in this directory over here. I want to go to this directory. Another cd dot. And I end up now in this directory, root directory. Okay. Now I want to go to under root. There is a etc directory. Now I want to go to the etc directory. So I would say cd etc. Okay. Real quick, your test over here. Those of you who are going to pass the test, you're going to get a special deal. I'm going to give you access to my live server for virtualization, provided that you're able to answer all my questions. You ready for this? This is like a rapid fire. This is rapid fire. And I am going to type a question over here, and you're going to type the answer or the command for me. Okay, somebody said wait 5 minutes. Okay, no problem. I can wait. I'm in bathroom. All right, no problem. Great job, bro. Great job. He said, wait 5 minutes. I'm in the bathroom. All right, I'm gonna wait 5 minutes for him to get done with the bathroom. Guys, what do you think about the class without a video? Isn't it more fun? I could be all by myself in my pajamas, having fun, in my banyan, and I could be teaching the class. It's so goddamn feeling good. Wow. Okay. All right, the test starts now. Let's go. Jazeb is so filmy, wallahi. He every time he wants to express, he says, love ho gaya. And then he says, didar zaruri hai. No worries. More used to the camera. Okay, yeah. Camera, we're gonna get it back. Okay, no worries. Need to get a better camera. Camera. Yes, I want you guys to type over here. Okay. Now, here, 1, 2, 3. I want to check from the command line whether this IP address 192.168.1.111 is on the network. Talha, you got it wrong. Aruba, you get it wrong. Oh, if config guys are all wrong. IP is all wrong. NMCLI is all wrong. Ping is the right answer. Beautiful. Those of you who got the ping, you got the right. There you go. Now go ahead on your CLI, ladies and gentlemen. Run this command and show me that we were right. Ping 192.168.1.111. Is my machine pinging? Is my machine pinging? Yes. Ping for me .110. Is it pinging? Is the .10 pinging? The ones who are saying yes, they got wrong. They got wrong. Host, destination host, unreachable. Maybe I need to send you guys to the elementary school once again to get your English right, because unreachable means you cannot reach there. How's that? Huh? We need to send you guys to the elementary school? Okay, no worries, no worries. We'll do that. We'll do that. Okay. All right, this is the first day at work. Another question. Question number 2. First day at work, and manager puts me in front of the terminal. And he says, Assad, it's good to have you over here, but can you do me a quick favor over here? Tell me what kernel version this machine is using. Kernel version this machine is using. Name-r is wrong. Hostname CTL is right. Uname-r is beautiful. LSCPU is wrong. Free-m is wrong. Shame on you is wrong. Hostname CTL. All right. IP route is wrong. Absolutely wrong. All right, no problem. Let's see. Host name CTL. Do I see my kernel version here? Do I see my kernel version here? Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Uname -a. Do I see my kernel version here? Yes, you do see. Okay, back to my question. So far, how many of you got two questions right? I need you guys to count. Be honest with me, because I'm going to give you access to the live VMware environment that nobody else will have. I don't know if you can get that, but we'll see. All right. Now, my manager says, welcome to the new job. You got an $84 an hour rate, Assad. And, I love to have you on my team. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to log into one server and quickly check what is the distribution this server is using. Check the distribution version. What flavor, what type of Linux is this server using? NMCLI is wrong. Ifconfig is wrong. Echo shell is wrong. LSCPU is wrong. Uptime is wrong. Hostname CTL is right. Absolutely. I love these kids, but there are not that many kids that I love because, all right, Cat OS release. There's a guy who's using Google like religiously. John is using Google. Maybe he knows the command already, but I like to roast him anyways. Hostname CTL will tell you that this is a Linux kernel, and this is the kernel. This is the Linux. Okay. Right here, Linux Server 9.7. All right. Now, I got another question for you. 3 on 3. How many of you got 3 on 3? 3 on 3 so far. So far, 3 on 3, folks. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Next one. Now, the next one. The manager walks into my room while I am working, and he said, Assad, it's been 1 week you're working over here. You're doing a great job. You got 3 on 3. I got a little problem. One of the server that I'm using, whenever I have more than 1,000 people, when they log in, they complain the server is slow. They complain the server is slow, Assad. What are 2-3 things you would check on the server, whether the server can handle the load? All right. All right. My engineers. All right. Talk to me. Assad, you guys are going to keep me at the job. Otherwise, my manager is going to kill me. What are 2-3 things you would want to check the resources, first of all? What is the most important thing that does the processing in the server? I'm asking you for the server components, folks. Come on. There you go. Somebody understand my question. CPU and RAM. CPU and RAM. And then maybe we will check the network as well. But let's see. I told him his name is Mike, my boss, Mike Baker. I love him. Well, he raised me like I was a little baby. He raised me. Was most humble person, Mike Baker. He yelled at me a few times, but he gave me a wake-up call, by the way. One time, I wrote an email, for these big guys that was going up the chain. And he looked at my email and he walked into my office. He said, Assad, let me ask you a question. I'm 22 years old at that time. He said, have you been to school? I said, yeah. I almost have my associate. He's like, your writing skills are horrible. You don't know how to write emails? So, well, I can get by, but he's like, no, you got to go back and you got to finish your bachelor's degree. I need you to improve your writing skills. That matters a lot in business. So writing skills that matter a lot in business. I went back to my school. I got my bachelor's. The haters that hate my stories, I'm going to roast you guys. All right, let's continue. CPU and RAM. So I told him, Mike, I would look into the number of CPUs and the RAM, and then I will see what is my load average on the server. Mike go back and he tries these commands. Now he came back again. He said, how would I check the number of CPUs? How would I check the RAM on my server? Come on, folks. Number of CPUs. Number of CPUs. LS CPU. Every single kid in my class knows this, but there's one kid that keeps giving me wrong answers. Okay. I said, Mike, you would use the LS CPU. It will show you how many sockets you have. How many sockets you have. And then Mike goes, what is a socket, Asad? Can you explain me? What is a socket? Ladies and gentlemen, what is a socket? Core is wrong. Physical CPUs in my server. Physical CPUs in my server. Excellent. I said, Mike, those are the actual physical CPUs that are installed in your physical server. Mike goes back and he looks at the LS CPU. He sees the something core. He comes back to me and says, Asad, it is saying physical CPU, there are 4 sockets. Then it is saying there are number of cores. What is a core, Asad? Well, that's also a physical phenomena, Mike. That they squeeze the small CPUs into a big socket. So those are small CPUs into a socket, So these are like physical cores. These are like different, like processors, like physical processors. He goes, okay, perfectly fine. Then he comes back to me and he says, what is hyperthreading, Asad? And what is my answer to the hyperthreading? These are virtual cores. These are logical processors. Okay, beautiful. So far, you guys are doing good. And then he says, Asad, what was that command to check the RAM? How much RAM I have in my server? How much is being used? And how much it is free? Free -H. I have to yet find a single person who doesn't know this command. Free -H. So everybody gets a point on this one. Free -H. Okay, that's beautiful. And then Mike says that I am going to see my boss, and my boss is thinking about transitioning to Windows OS on the server side. He wants to completely transition to the Windows servers. He wants to get rid of all the Linux servers. And he says, Asad, give me some good points that I can convince him we need Linux in our data center. We don't want Windows. What are some of the reasons that I can convince him? Number one, the most important one. Let me tell you one thing: the budget doesn't matter to the companies. It is open source. That's it. Case closed, Mike. Just go tell your boss we are using open source software. We are not depending on any vendor. So, number one. Number two, tell your boss Linux is the most reliable operating system and most secure. And hold on a second. Why these people are saying we cannot hear you? I'm like yelling over here. Why? Oh, I see, because I don't have my DJI mic. I'm not being too fancy tonight, and you guys don't like that. I see that. Okay. Well, I say, Mike. Yeah. I said, Mike, it's reliable, it's secure. The memory and the CPU management is excellent. Memory and the CPU management is excellent. Therefore, I would not move to the Windows on a server side. I would stay on the Linux side. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, at some point, my boss, he was the big boss, CTO. His name is Hossein. You guys can Google him. He's a big guy. Hossein Aslam Bolchi. At one time, he accidentally made the announcement that AT&T is looking to transition from Windows to Linux as a desktop operating system. At that time, I'm talking about early 2000. And you know what? It almost cost him his job because Microsoft was the bully on the block. It did not like that idea. So he had to go back and apologize and take his announcement back. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, our topic today is virtualization. You guys are good so far? Okay, very good. A little bit of a review. I am going to be reviewing in this style in our paid classes, which starts June 6th. I'm going to give you the actual questions that the interviewer will ask you. So at the end of the day, you're all prepared. There are no surprises for you on the interview. You will be getting all the commands. You will be getting evaluation sheets and every yeah. So every once in a month, you will go through the evaluation. Okay. Adnan, you have your hand up. Let me ask you, let's see if you have a question. Go ahead. Adnan, I gave you the microphone. Okay, Adnan doesn't want us. Okay, no problem. All right, folks. Okay, no worries. All right, so our topic today is virtualization. I want to explain you what virtualization is. And I want to show you how beautiful virtualization is. Is everybody good to start? Are you all comfortable and ready to learn the new topic? And I promise you, this is going to be the most easiest thing you have ever learned in your life. In this course, not everything is going to be very challenging. There's going to be some fun things. In my opinion, virtualization is the absolute fun. In my opinion, cloud is the absolute fun. And the Linux is the most challenging thing that you're going to learn. And out of Linux, the navigation is the most challenging thing that you're going to learn. Navigating, going one directory to another directory, creating directory, files, changing permissions. The fundamentals in Linux are very challenging. And then after that, once you have that structure in your brain, you're going to be fine. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, virtualization is basically the technology that allows one physical server to run multiple machines, multiple virtual machines. So because I'm a story guy, I'm going to take you guys back to the storyline. Back in time when I was young and handsome, late 90s, early 2000s, everything was a bare metal server, the ones that I show you. And whenever we had to bring a new bare metal server into our company, we had to go through different processes. My boss, first of all, the sysadmin would raise the request to the boss saying, hey, I need to get a new server. I need to get a new server. And then these requests would go to the boss. Boss, which is your immediate manager, would look at your request and then it would approve it. Then it would go to the director. Director would look at this and would ask this question, why you need this? Because the server cost could be anywhere from 20 to 100K. And I'm not exaggerating. And some of the servers that we had were 300K servers in the organization. That's why companies are, they want to vet you really good. They want to see that you really can work on these servers because you can destroy them. Not sure if you guys heard that story that there was one kid who walked into Bank of America data center with the soda can in his hand, and he spilled the soda on one of the server. Okay. And one of the server, and that was a real-time trading server, and that caused outages on the Wall Street for a long time. Things were down. Okay. Are you talking about the whole rack or just one is on? I'm talking about one server. Yeah. Yeah, there's no. Thank you. Give me a second over here. Appreciate that. Let me take a sip of water. So, it goes through the chain of approvals. And then finally, after 7 days, the server request is approved. And once the server request is approved, then, me or, the other sysadmin would call the vendor. Vendor could be HP or Dell. These are the companies that make servers. They are very famous for these, right? And then HP and Dell would take literally 14 days to ship us our server. Now, finally, the server arrives in our mailing room, in our mail room. And then one of us would go to pick up that server and bring that server into the data center. And now the server comes into the data center. Now, the next thing you need to do is you need to take that server and you need to put it into the rack. This is called racking and stacking. You rack the server, you take all the cables and plug them into the switch. And of course, the switch goes to the router. So this whole process could cost you a lot of money and a lot of time delays. So companies were looking for some solution to this scenario. And what is the scenario? The scenario is there is a lot of money that we are spending and a lot of time we're spending to get a new server. And as you see, the data centers get bigger and bigger. And in order for you to host a lot of these servers, you need racks. Racks require physical real estate. And also, in order for these servers to stay cool and calm, in order for these servers to stay cool and calm, you need AC and you need a lot of power. Data centers are always run by AC, power, UPS, uninterrupted power supply. By the way, I'm not sure if you guys are following. There are a lot of protests going on right now in the United States. People are protesting against data centers. How many of you are following this news? Wherever they're opening a new data center, there are people showing up and protesting that they do not want these data centers. You know why are they protesting? Because it's not good for the environment. It's going to take up a lot of power, and your electricity bill will also go high. And it is also taking up a lot of real estate. So by the way, if you happen to be close to these data centers, and they're opening up a new data center in your area, Buy any goddamn old property over there and you will make crazy money. I promise you this. Because wherever you have data centers, people need to live close by because they're going to be working over there in thousands. And therefore, you will make good money if you have a piece of real estate close to the data center. Okay. So the fact that we have so many protests going on, it shows you how many data centers are going to be born in near future. And it's $1 trillion being spent into this industry. And once again, what these data centers run, what is the backbone of the data center? Linux. And that's what you guys are learning. Linux plus networking plus applications, everything as a one package. You become an engineer and you are capable of working in the data center. Okay, so real estate is not cheap. Power is not cheap. And the more, and also remember, one physical server, back in days, one physical server, when I was young and handsome, it would run only one operating system at a time. You could only install one operating system on a bare metal server. And then you can run maybe one or two applications. Now, this model is very costly. And there are a lot of time delays. So this is the problem at hand back in year 1999, back in year 2000, back in year 2003. So how do you solve this problem? Everybody understand the problem? Imagine you are back in 2000 when I'm young and handsome, and this is the problem I'm having. So for every time you need to run a new operating system, you need to buy a new server. Every time you want to run an application, you need to buy a new server. So also, when you're buying new servers, you're running out of a space because the data center can only fill so many number of servers. Yeah. So what are you going to do in this case? You need a solution. The solution is, somehow utilize the single server, and try to squeeze more operating systems that can run more applications all simultaneously. Guys, do you understand the problem? If you understand the problem, then you can understand the solution. If you don't understand the problem, you cannot understand the solution. Anybody in here that do not understand the problem right now, I mean, back in those days, whatever I described right now. Okay. There are some shy kids. Nobody's saying, no, I don't understand. Once again, back in days, year 2000, for anything, back in days, exactly. Back in days, understand one thing. What do servers do for any organization? Let's start from here. This is my server. What is this server going to do for me, for my organization? What does it do for me? It will run my website. It can run my applications. Okay. All right. Now, let me explain you. Let me give you example for both. I'm going to give you example of BOA. I am Bank of America. Understand that, okay? I'm Bank of America. And now I need my main website, bankofamerica.com. Okay? Bankofamerica.com. Where is this website being hosted? Where is this website getting hosted, ladies and gentlemen? It is getting hosted on your server. So you have a server over here. That server runs Linux. Linux has some application installed called Apache. And this Apache is basically running this website. Okay? So far, so good. That's one problem I solved for Bank of America. For Bank of America, the website that you're using is being run on this server. Now, come over here. Bank of America has a lot of locations in the United States, banking location. You go to the teller every day and you deposit the check or you withdraw your money, right? When the teller is talking to you, right? She's punching in some numbers into her computer screen. Ladies and gentlemen, she is using some application, some program, just like you're using Zoom. That program is, where is that program running? That program is running on the server. So, ladies and gentlemen, program servers, number one, run operating system. That's very, very important. Operating system, ladies and gentlemen, run applications. Applications. So what I'm telling you, back in days, for every application and for any organization, for any company that's doing a business, they run a lot of applications. A lot of applications. So back in days, one physical server, no matter how powerful that was, it used to run one operating system, and that operating system could run one or two applications at the same time. Okay? So let's just say over here, let's come back over here, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with me. If you don't understand what I'm saying over here, make some noise. So let's take a look at this server that we have today. How many cores we have in our server? Why couldn't they run more? Okay, let's start with this one. Operating system. Even as of today, you cannot run two operating systems on a physical server in parallel without a third-party solution. Okay? By default, I cannot have Windows and I cannot have Linux running on a one physical server by the design of the server. I need to have some third-party software in order to do this. It is possible, but I needed some third-party software, and that's what we are talking about today. Why couldn't they do it? Because this is how the servers were designed. Physical servers are supposed to run. Exactly. Okay? So now, so you can only run one operating system on a physical server. And then one operating system, yes, in theory, one operating system can run many applications. In theory, it can run many applications, but in reality, it usually runs one or two applications at the most. Why? Because software conflict. Software conflict. Okay, what is a software conflict, ladies and gentlemen? Imagine I am running this application. This application is called Mango. And this application is Orange. Okay? This Mango application and this Orange application, ladies and gentlemen, they require from the operating system, they both use Python, some software. And they both might use Java. Mango says, I need Java version 1. And Orange says, I need Java version 2. Software conflicts. Software conflicts. In theory, you can run applications, multiple applications, but in reality, you might run into some conflicts. Does that make sense to you guys? Does that make sense to you guys? Am I making sense to you guys over here? Well, somebody said, no, it doesn't make sense. Well, let me just repeat that once again, what I said over here. I said that back in days, servers could run one operating system at a time. And the operating system could run one or two applications at a time. Why? Because of dependencies, because of server software. If this application requires a Java version 1, this application might require Java version 2. This application might require Java version 3. So which one you're going to install on this operating system? Java 1, 2, 3? You see? That's the problem. Okay? That's why. Now, come back to this issue over here. I got myself a new server over here. All right, guys, you guys tell me. The servers that we have, which server is this? Which server is this? Can you guys quickly tell me? What's the make and model of this server? Nah, you guys are all BSers. No, you guys are all giving me wrong information. Where would you find this information? What type of server it is? Give me one command. No, NMCLI, Mohsen, you so hooked up to NMCLI, bro. What the hell is wrong with you? NMCLI. NMCLI is just the networking stuff. And Zara is obsessed with if config. Whatever I say, she gives if config, if config, if config. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? She's obsessed with the if config. Okay. So host name CL is tell you that this is HP. Which one is this? HP DL 580? Hostname CTL? Come on, folks. Hey, come on. Yeah, DL 580. Okay, beautiful. So hostname, Gen 9. Now, guys, tell me how many CPUs this guy has. Number of CPUs. Number of CPUs. LS CPU, 144. How much is the RAM we have in this server? RAM, 755 gigabyte. How much is the disk space over here? LSBLK, disk. LSBLK disk space, how much? 3.3 terabyte. Beautiful. Somebody's paying attention in my class. Okay. And this is it. These are my resources. These are my resources. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have 144 CPUs. If I were to run a single operating system on this, which is Linux, which, by the way, I am using single CPU, right? Single OS on this one, and it is Linux. And on top of this, you know what I'm using for you guys? I'm using the Pulse application for you to log in, and for you to see this beautiful environment over here. This beautiful environment. I'm using a Pulse and some other web server over here. Okay. I'm using just 2 applications on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'm using 2 applications. One is this and the other one is Apache. The rest of the server is not being used. Not at all. So 144 CPUs. Out of 144 CPUs, all of you guys that are logged in over here, Let's check how many CPUs are being used right now. Only one CPU is being used over here. Only one CPU, or 1.2, you can say. Let's just say two CPUs. Now, second thing is, ladies and gentlemen, how much RAM am I using over here? Let's see over here. How much RAM am I using? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm only using 9.5 gigabyte RAM. I have 723 gigabyte. I'm using only 9.5 gig, not even 10 gig. Not even that, actually. I'm using 2%. I'm using 2%. Yeah. I'm using 2% of my disk space. So what does that tell you? I am wasting resources. I am wasting resources on my server. And nighttime, you guys are all sleeping. What is my server doing nighttime? Doesn't do anything. So my server is overutilized or underutilized. What is this? Underutilized. My server is very underutilized. Okay? The waste resources are being wasted. At the same time, what am I using? Is my server continuously using power? Tell me. Yeah. Is my server continuously needing the AC and I'm paying the bill for the AC? Yes. Is my server taking a space somewhere in the rack? That's real estate. Okay. And what about the people that are managing this server? You need more people. So what am I doing over here? I am losing money as a corporation. I'm using money as a corporation. Does everybody now understand? Does everybody now understand what the problem this industry was facing? Everybody understand? Let's come to the solution. Rabia has a question. Rabia, I'm going to give you the microphone. Give me a second. Go ahead, Rabia. Let's come to the solution while Rabia speaks. Rabia, your question, or you go ahead. We cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. You have to choose the right microphone. I'm going to keep the microphone open. And when you were able to speak, I will answer your question. The solution. We're going to take the same physical server that you have, ladies and gentlemen. What is this? HP DL 580. How many CPUs? 144. It has 744 RAM. And it has the hard disk or the storage, 3 terabyte. Now, back in days, we did not have the option. We would directly install the OS on top of this. And that, OS could be anything, Linux or Windows or Unix. And that's what created a problem. Okay. And then these OS would install 1 or 2 applications. And that's where we were stuck. We could not run different operating systems at the same time. You could only do Linux, Windows, or Unix. And then each would run 1 application at a time. That was the problem. So we came to the solution. There's a company, ladies and gentlemen, called VMware. VMware came up with this idea right over here, which is now owned by Broadcom. that you can take the same physical server and you can divide their resources and you can virtualize it. And let me come back over here. You can take the same physical server, and instead of installing the operating system on top of it, you would install their software, which is called VMware Hypervisor. Hypervisor. What the hypervisor does, ladies and gentlemen, now the hypervisor, on top of this, you create multiple virtual machines. Yeah. You create multiple virtual machines, and now these machines actually act like a one physical server. Okay? And now you can run any operating system you want to run on top of them. And so this will give you the ability to run different operating systems on the same server, but now we're using the VMware product, hypervisor, software, and through this software, we can now have different machines, 1, 2, 3. And now these 3 machines can actually allows you to run different applications. Okay? Some of you got it, some of you did not get it. Let me start once again. You remember? Yeah, I'm coming back. You remember we had a physical server? You remember we were installing OS on top of this, like a Linux? And that's where the problem was? Well, VMware said, do not install Linux on this. VMware said that you have a physical server. I am going to give you my software. A technology company said, you are going to install my software. The software is called ESXi. And this software, what it allows you to do, ladies and gentlemen, because you have over here CPU, because you have RAM over here, you have your hard drive, it will basically divide all of these resources, and it will allow the physical server to break down into virtual machines. It will allow you to create virtual machines, and these machines act as a physical servers. You can never find out whether you are working on a physical server or you're working on a bare metal server. So what it does is basically, this is what it does. You have a physical server and you have 144 CPUs and you have 755 RAM and you have 3.3 terabytes hard drive. What the software allows you to do, the VMware software, let's call it VMware right here, VMware software, you install the VMware software on this physical machine through the USB. And this VMware software divide the resources. For example, 144. It will allow you to create something called a virtual machine. And then you can decide how many CPUs you want to give to this machine. For example, I want to give it 2 CPUs. And so 2 CPUs from this 144 are gone to this machine. I am going to take a little bit of RAM from here. I'm going to give it 20 GB RAM. I'm going to take a little bit of hard drive from here, and I'm going to give it literally 50 gigabyte hard drive. This becomes one of my virtual machine. Virtual machine is basically like a true representation of the physical machine. Let me show you in pictures. If I can show you over here. Let's take a look at this over here. Take a look at this over here. Pay attention. I have the bare metal server, the Dell server, our physical server, right? On top of this bare metal server, I am going to install this VMware software called ESXi. And then from this ESXi, ladies and gentlemen, I can create that would look like a physical machine. I can create different virtual machines, and I can run any operating system on top of this virtual machine because now it is a different entity. It will act like a physical server, but it's a virtual machine you could never find out. And that's the magic the VMware gave us. That's the magic VMware gave us. Now, I'm going to explain you in a different terminology. Here, come back over here. I know some of you guys are confused and you're banging your head against the wall and you're like, oh my God, I knew this is tough for me. There's no way I could do this. Oh my God, he made it so easy. Now he's making it difficult. Here, come back over here. You losers, come back and talk to me. I'm going to explain you, okay? Please don't take my words seriously, okay? Take it easy. I'm going to explain you. Pay attention. You know how we have houses? Right here. I said, this is a house over here. Yeah. Let's say this is a house over here, and this is the entrance to the house. And this house has, this house has electric. This house has water. This house has, what else? It goes in the house? Gas. And you have different rooms and you have different people living over here. But the house is on point, 1 acre. If you live in Jersey, you know what I mean. Okay. The house is on 1 acre. And there are maybe, 5 or 6 or 3 people living over there. These are rich guys and they're having fun. Yeah. So if you look at it, the electricity is there, the water is there, the gas is there, the land is 1 acre, and there's only 5 or 4 people living over there. How about if we demolish this house and we build an apartment building right over here? And in this apartment building, we're going to divide this into different apartments. Okay. How many apartments we get out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 apartments. The same acreage, 1 acre, and there is electricity. Everybody's going to use that electricity. Gas, everybody's going to use that. Water, everybody's going to use that. Now, Wi-Fi, you guys get your own Wi-Fi. Gas, water, solar, maybe. So guess what? Now, this 1 acre place is best utilized. We got more people benefiting from this land than in the house. So think of a physical server, a private house where only 1 or 2 people are living and they are wasting resources. And think of apartment building as a virtualized environment where you have people that are living the same, same area, but more utilization. Does this help you guys? So if we come back to our slides and we start paying attention to what is virtualization, now we start to understand virtualization a little better. What is virtualization? To virtualize something. Do you guys understand the meaning virtualization? It's like a true representation of the physical thing, but it's not a physical thing. For example, you guys have your virtual life on Instagram. You know, there is physically you sitting in your home, and then there is a beautiful fake version of you, which looks so rich, so gloomy, and God knows, you know, this is you, the crooked you, and this is you with the filters, and you're carrying the Louis Vuitton bag, and you're sitting on a lavish, AI yard, whatever the hell you do, okay? From actual you to the virtual you, ladies and gentlemen. Now I gave you multiple here, by the way. That's virtualization, you know? And so come back to the slide over here. Virtualization is the technology that allows one physical server to run multiple virtual machines. Any doubts about this? Any questions over here? Anything that bothers you over here so far? Anything that bothers you over here? So let's take a look at this. Before virtualization, what did we have? Before virtualization, ladies and gentlemen, one physical server, one operating system. We had a one physical server. We could only run one operating system. Okay. And the hardware was underutilized, costly, and hard to scale. And after virtualization, ladies and gentlemen, I know some of you guys are not paying attention to me. And then you're going to say, oh my God, he doesn't make sense. Oh my God, this stuff is so crazy. What the hell I got myself into? Come on, folks. Pay attention. If you're paying attention over here, say something. A beauty fly, ugly fly, say something. All right, what is this genius guy saying over here? Versus by back in days, you teach us that bare metal servers run Linux 70%. And now while studying virtualization, we are saying there is no OS on the bare metal. Therefore, VMware solution is not contradictory. What the hell? Okay. I don't know what you just said, okay? But you said something intelligent over here. Let me see. There's so many messages coming through over here. It is saying, Asad Bhai, back in days, you teach us that on bare metal servers, Red Hat Enterprise Linux install 70%. And now, while studying virtualization, we are saying there is no OS on the bare metal. There is VMware software. So isn't that contradictory? Okay, I understand your question. Beautiful question. Are you okay? Somebody actually thinks that I am under the influence right now. How many of you guys think I'm under the influence right now? The only influence I have is, ladies and gentlemen, God damn, I was working till 4 o'clock this morning. From literally 8 p.m. to 4 o'clock. That's the influence that I have right now. Okay. And yeah, something like that. And then I woke up literally 12 o'clock and then I started working. Anyway, come back to this thing. After virtualization, and by the way, when you guys will be applying for jobs on the market, you're going to see some onshore recruiters and some offshore recruiters. And the one thing that's going to separate the onshore recruiter with the offshore recruiter is the onshore recruiter would say, well, I'm looking for a Linux guy. And the offshore recruiter would say, I have a position and I am looking for a Linux administrator. And so Linux versus Linux will tell you which one is more credible. Okay. So after virtualization, ladies and gentlemen, the same one physical server is now broken down into virtual machines. One virtual machine, two, three, four, depending on the resources. So it's better resource utilization. It is scalable, flexible, and cost effective. All right, let's move forward. What are the advantages of virtualization? Everybody understand virtualization? Wait till I show you guys. Wait till I show you guys, okay? It's not going to make sense. What are the top virtualization platforms? Of course, VMware is the front runner. Microsoft they have their own Hyper-V virtualization. Nutanix is also another virtualization platform. Citrix has their own virtualization. Red Hat there has their own virtualization. So there are these companies are doing virtualization. There are more companies that are doing virtualization. We will look at them later on. So the key word over here, ladies and gentlemen, the key takeaway from this is virtualization allows you to do more with less. One server, many possibilities. Okay. If you guys like my slides, please give me a shout out. Let me know. I spend a lot of time on this. The color scheme, keeping it simple, keeping it beautiful. So it takes a lot of time. So imagine you have a big toy. So what is saying over here? You big box, physical. Normally you could play only one game with that toy box at a time. VMware Virtualization is like beautiful understanding. Excellent. Yeah. So let's move forward over here. Types of virtualization, ladies and gentlemen. There are mainly two types of virtualization. One is the hosted virtualization, runs virtual machines on top of an existing operating system. Let me break down the type 1 and type 2. Oh, that girl looks so scary after getting virtualized. So scary. Oh my God. All right. Sabah, you need to mute yourself. We can hear you laugh all the way here. Before you say something really crazy about me, so keep yourself on mute. I have heard way too many things when people do not mute and they say, oh my God, this guy's crazy. Wallah, he thinks he's some comedian or something, but nah, he ain't got it. Hell no. Anyway, guys, let's move forward and understand the type 1 virtualization. Type 1. Type 1 virtualization is basically, it's called hosted virtualization. Hosted virtualization is this. You have a, server, and on the server, you install your operating system. And then on that operating system, you install the virtual platform as an application. Virtual platform. And this virtual platform, ladies and gentlemen, allows you to create VMs. Okay. So in this one, you have your PC, you have your laptop, you have your server. And the first thing you do is you install operating system. Could be anything, could be Linux, could be Windows. And then on top of this operating system, you do install the virtual platform. For example, ladies and gentlemen, I have a VMware workstation over here. I want to show you guys. I have VMware Workstation Pro over here. This is a virtualization platform. And if you see over here, If you see over here, it is saying, what do you want to do? You want to create a new virtual machine? And I click on this, and I can create a new virtual machine within 5 seconds. Okay. I'm not going to go through the virtualization over here, but if you guys want to play around with the virtualization, VMware Workstation is a beautiful software to play around. Another software that you can work with is called Oracle Virtual Box. Oracle Virtual Box, ladies and gentlemen, download this, install this, play around with this. It's the powerful open source virtualization. Okay. This is type 1 virtualization. Type 1 virtualization is basically, I have my Windows installed right here. You can see I have my operating system running. And now I install Oracle VirtualBox, or I install VMware, and now I can create virtual machines on top of this. This application allows me to create virtual machine. Okay? So this is type 1 virtualization. The type 2 virtualization is right over here. It's the bare metal virtualization. And this, ladies and gentlemen, you have your physical server and you install the virtualization software on the physical server or a laptop or a desktop, wherever you want to install. And then, you install the virtualization software platform right over here. If you're doing VMware, then it would be ESXi hypervisor. And then you can create virtual machines by using this VMware software on a bare metal machine. And you can create multiple virtual machines. That's type 2. It's called bare metal virtualization. It is called hypervisor. The software that goes on top of your server is called hypervisor, and it is called ESXi. So VMware's hypervisor is called ESXi. So understand the term hypervisor. Understand that VMware called their hypervisor ESXi. Right now, as of 2 years ago, VMware was the leading guy in the virtualization. Is a leading guy in the virtualization. Can somebody explain what is a virtual machine to somebody who's asking a question over here? A virtual machine basically is like a real machine, but it's made out of a software. It's used and it's created by a software. It is not a physical machine. It exists because the software made it for us. It is like a fake real machine. It's like a fake server. You can create it and you can delete it in matter of seconds or minutes. Can you do bare metal virtualization on a personal PC? Yes, you can do that. So a virtual machine is a fake server, fake physical server, or a software-based machine. Software-based machine. Isn't type 1? Oh, I may have. Did I get these two? Did I switch both of them? Type 1 or type 2? Could be. Could be. Sometimes AI makes stupid mistakes. My apologies. Sometimes AI makes stupid mistakes. Yeah, exactly. So, sorry, I got to change this one. So this one is type 2. This is type 1. You see, this is what happens when I don't pay attention and I'm doing my slides at the very, very last minute. So I got to change this one. This is type 1 and this is type 2. Okay, thank you, Suleiman. That was a good catch. And Alina, good catch. Beautiful. Thank you for correcting me. Now, types of hypervisors. Hypervisors are the foundation of virtualization, enabling multiple virtual machines to run on a single server. I think in this slide, it was just talking about different types, type 1 and type 2. But in reality, there are types, type 2 and type 1. Okay. So, anyway, we are looking at the different types of hypervisor different companies make. Hypervisor is basically the software that turns your machine into a virtual machine, your physical machine into a virtual machine. And you install that on a bare metal machine. VMware has their hypervisor. Microsoft has their hypervisor. Citrix has their hypervisor. Proxmox has their hypervisor. This one is getting more popular now. VMware was the leading guys in virtualization. Zen has their, KVM has their own hypervisor. So, which hypervisor you're going to choose? Well, it depends how much money you got in your pocket, and which one you feel comfortable with. This was the industry leader till now because they were the first one to come up with this technology. And they banked a lot of money, these guys. They make a lot of money. And now they made their software so expensive, nobody wants to buy it. Nobody wants to buy it. I think VMware Workstation is free. Don't quote me on that. At least I got that for free. So VMware is getting so expensive now. Everybody is moving to Proxmox, which is open source. But we are going to learn VMware because it's very easy to use. All of them are very, very easy to use. And then we will see how easy it is to create a virtual machine in blink of an eye. Okay? Everybody with me so far? Let's go to this one. So what is a VM? Again, the question that was asked by a gentleman. Virtual machine is a software-based computer that runs on an operating system and applications just like physical computer. So virtual computer, virtual machine is made by a software. It exists because of the software. In this case, the software name is ESXi. And you install the software on the server, and then you create a machine from the software, and then the machine allows you to run any operating system, and you can run your applications. So over here, he has it right over here, type 1. I think he was just talking about different types, not necessarily it's specifically type 2 or type 1. So VMware ESXi is the name of the software that takes your bare metal and allows you to create virtual machines. Okay? So this is what I did for you guys. I have a server. The server has 122, no, 122, maybe 100, I think 122 CPUs. And it has about some RAM and some disk. No, this is a different server. I installed ESXi software on top of this server. Very easy to install. Every single one of you can do this, and you should do this. And now I'm at this stage over here. I will show you how to connect to this ESXi. Then I'm going to show you how to create multiple machines that will use these resources. Are you guys looking forward to this? Are you ready? Actually, I was preparing to give you guys access to this live ESXi server. And I wanted you guys to create the virtual machines by yourself. So two things happen in overnight. One, I had to build from scratch the ESXi. This takes a long time, which I got it up and running at 4 a.m. Second thing is, I had to move these about 7 or 8 servers, physical servers, into my new data center because there's a construction going on over here, data center. And so this took literally 2 guys with me, muscle guys, and about 4 hours to move these 8 servers into new data center. Now these servers are up and running and they are online, but I have to make some configuration changes on the router and the firewall to open up the ports. And I literally was 15 minutes away from doing this, and then the class time showed up. And that's why I did not have time to get myself prepared for the camera. And plus, I had to be on this network. So, but I got that ready for you guys. So the way it works is this. So let's take a look at this. I have this same server over here. And then I did the ESXi install. And by the way, I'm going to teach you guys how to do the installation, because on your interview, if you say you have installed the ESXi and you have managed it, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So you're going to learn how to do that. I'm going to teach you everything that is going to be on your resume. Every single bullet that you put on your resume, you need to know that, because that's what they will be asking you questions from day one. Okay? So I installed ESXi on top of this bare metal server. ESXi, when I installed it, only it gave me an IP address. And it says, this is my IP address. You can go ahead and visit my website using this IP address. All the operations on the ESXi, on the virtualization platform, they are done through the website. So let's take this website IP address and plug it into my browser, which is 192.168.1.11. And I hit enter. And ladies and gentlemen, what you see over here is you are seeing VMware, the company, and then it says that you are logging into the ESXi. So what is ESXi if I ask you right now? What is the terminology? What's the technology that ESXi uses? Say it, whatever is on your mind. Well, the VMware is the name of the company. VMware is the name of the company. Oh, snipping tool. Let me break it down for you guys. This is very, very important. So far, none of you got it right. There's only one person that got it right, because she did a quick Google. He did a quick Google and he found the answer. Well, VMware is the name of the company. This is called credentials, username and password. And this is again the name of the company. This is the name of the software. But the technology, so VMware has their software, Microsoft has their software. But how do we refer to this software? What's the technology? For example, We say OS. Well, there is a Linux OS, there's a Windows OS. So, what is the technology for the virtualization platform? It is called hypervisor. 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 We are using hypervisor right now. We're using hypervisor. And hypervisor, Microsoft has their own hypervisor. They call it Hyper-V. And then there is a KVM hypervisor, which is by the Red Hat. So every company named their own hypervisor. Every company has their own operating system and they have different names. Microsoft has Windows, Apple has Mac, Linux has different ones, Red Hat, Ubuntu, right? So every company has their own hypervisor and they use their own names. Are we good so far? Anybody has a problem with this? Now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to log into this page. Root. And I really wanted to give you guys access. See, hypervisor is the name of the technology. Yes. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at this and understand what we are seeing over here, how beautiful this environment is. Oh, my laptop is running out of the battery. Okay, appreciate that. Thank you so much. Here. Can you share the link? This is what I was trying to tell you. I can share the link with you guys, but this is in my private network. It is very, very difficult. Is IBM also hypervisor? No, IBM is the name of the company. And Red Hat is also part of IBM. IBM is the big company, okay? Billion-dollar company. VMware is the name of the company. Do IBM make hypervisors? I doubt it. I don't know about that. So, ladies and gentlemen over here, what is the name of my server over here? Make and model. My server has is P570F. It has 112 CPUs and it has 671 gigabyte RAM. Okay. And let's take a look at this over here. And you can see the resource utilization over here, how much I'm using the resources. Okay. And let me see over here. It talks about the networking. It talks about the IP address of this server over here. The IP address is this over here. So you see how everything has an IP address? Remember that? Everything has an IP address. Everything has a DNS and default gateway. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at this, I'm using the ESXi 7 version. I'm using the ESXi 7 version. Okay. Now, if I come over here in the virtual machines, and I can go ahead and I can create a new virtual machine, ladies and gentlemen. And this new menu pops up over here. So remember what's the picture as of now? The picture is this. We have a Dell server. The Dell server has 122 CPUs. It has 670 gigabyte of RAM and some storage. And on top of this, what did we install? What did we install on top of this? We install ESXi. And what is this ESXi technology-wise? Hypervisor. Beautiful. So this hypervisor, we logged into this hypervisor. We are working on this right now. By working on this hypervisor, what are we going to create over here, ladies and gentlemen? We are going to create virtual machines. How many virtual machines we can create? If one virtual machine requires a one CPU and at least 1 GB of RAM, then how many virtual machines I can technically create? I can create over 100 machines. Over 100 machines. I can create 122 machines maybe. Okay. So number of virtual machines that I can create depends on this, my resources. If I had only 4 CPUs over here, can I create 10 machines? No, I cannot create 10 machines because my CPUs would run out. Every machine needs at least one CPU, right? So now we are at this level. We are connected to ESXi through a website, through web server. And now our next goal is to create virtual machines. And these machines, ladies and gentlemen, can run different operating systems. This one can run Linux, this one can run Windows, this one can run Unix, this one can run Mac. Okay? You guys understand that? Are you with me so far? So let's go ahead and create a virtual machine. Cancel out of this. See how beautiful this is. See how easy this is. Even if you did not know anything, you go to virtual machines and what do you hit over there? Tell me what you hit over there. You want to create a virtual machine. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. What do you see over here? Create a virtual machine. And this menu pops up. It says new virtual machine. It says select creation type. What are you trying to do over here? How would you like to create a virtual machine? I want to create a new virtual machine. I go next. It says, give me the name of the machine that you want to create. How about I'm going to create, give me the machine name. Give me the machine name. We're going to say class 2026. Beautiful. It says compatibility. Are you okay if we use the compatibility for the ESXi 7 version? Are you guys okay with that? Yeah, that's what we are using. It is saying guest OS. Hold on, let me take a snipping tool over here because some of my kids are very slow and they don't like it if I go a little faster. They get sad and they get mad. The name. Anything you want. Server is the host, correct. Guest is the VM. So we are creating a guest over here. We are creating a guest VM. Compatibility, ESXi 7, that's perfectly fine by default. It is saying guest OS family. So basically, it treats all the new virtual machines as guest VM. And whatever you install on top of them, they are guest. Because you can install, you can create virtual machine and you can delete whenever you want. So these are like guests coming in, going out, coming in, going out. So select the guest operating system family. And then it is saying select the guest OS version. Let's take a look at this option over here. So I'm going to select over here. You see how I said you can install any type of operating system? We're going to do Linux VM. And then it says select guest OS version. Now it's going to give me a whole list of all the Linux versions that exist over there. Which one I want to install? Let's do Oracle. Oracle 9 and 64-bit. Let's go next. Aha! It is saying that you have 2 storage devices. Where do you want to create this virtual machine? I want to go with this one because this has more space available. I'm going to go next. Aha! Think of this like you walked into a Best Buy or Micro Center and you are this geek person, ladies and gentlemen, and you want to build your own machine. Now, this is giving you all the options that you would like to have in your virtual machine. That's the most beautiful thing about the virtual machine. How many CPUs you want to give to this virtual machine? By default, one. Yes, Alina, we are doing this on the ESXi server through the website. Okay. This is not on my machine. Okay. Very good question. Beautiful. How much RAM do you want to give it? For now, I'm just going to keep it to 2 gigabyte. How much disk space you want to give? You know what? I can make this 200 VMs, 100 CPUs too if you want. And then how many more are I'm left with? Then how many more VMs I can create? 22. If I give all the RAM, remember, all of these resources are dependent on what? They are dependent on my resources that are with that host has. Okay? The host hardware resources. And then I'm going to keep this same. And then I'm going to hit finish. And ladies and gentlemen, you would not believe, but I have successfully created a virtual machine. And I'm going to click on this. And you would not believe that I can turn on this virtual machine and take a look at this. It looks like just like a physical machine is booting up. Now I need to tell this machine where it's going to get the DVD from, the installation media, because there's no operating system on it, right? I think this is a lot for you guys today. I'm going to stop it over here.